Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your attendance today. Today we'll be discussing the replacement of Bridge 2437, which carries Route 67, the town of Southbury, over the south branch of Bullet Hill Brook. My name is Jonathan Kempf. I'm a project manager with the Department of Transportation's State Bridge Design Unit. I'll give you a quick agenda for today's meeting. I'll begin by introducing our team. Then we'll begin the formal presentation of the bridge, where we'll discuss the overview of the existing temporary bridge, which was installed last year after the historic flooding event. Then we'll go into the purpose and need of the project. We'll discuss the proposed design for the permanent bridge replacement, as well as going through the design schedule and the construction schedule and any impacts. We'll also then go through the state's right-of-way process, and then we will end with a live question and answer session. So we have 3 different ways to reach out to us if you have questions and answers. Like I mentioned, we will end today with a live question and answer session where after our formal presentation, feel free to ask any questions you may have. But you can also reach out by phone or by email. We will also have this slide again towards the end of the presentation so that if you need to take a picture or jot down the phone number or email, feel free to reach out to us. And also, all this information is available on our project webpage. And then the comment period, we keep that open for 2 weeks. That's the formal comment period. So if after the meeting today you're driving home and you're thinking, oh shoot, why didn't I ask this? Feel free to reach out and we'll respond to you during that 2-week period. We greatly appreciate any input you have as the general public because we know this bridge replacement impacts you most. Our bridge design team, Derek Lassard, he's our division chief. Andy Cardinale, he's our principal engineer for the State Bridge Design Unit. I myself, John Kempf, I'm the project manager. Ostap Lisowicz, he's our design engineer who will be giving the formal presentation. Victor Heisman, he's our designer for this project. And Kathleen Erickson is our right-of-way coordinator. We also have members from our highway design team and our traffic design unit here to also answer any questions you may have. Title VI, notice to the public. The Connecticut Department of Transportation operates its programs and services without regard to race, color, and national origin in accordance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the CTDOT. A more formal explanation from this is also available on our project website, which you are free to read up on. So with that, I will hand it off to Ostap to go into a more formal presentation of the bridge replacement.
Hello, everybody. Thank you again for being here and attending our presentation. I'm the project engineer for project 130-0025, replacement of bridge 2437 carrying Route 67 over South Branch Bullet Hill Brook in the town of Southbury. This is our project location. You can see in red over here, Bridge 02437, just south of Community House Road and just south of the tennis courts there. And it's east of the intersection of Jeremy Swamp Road and Route 67. So getting into a little bit of history and the existing bridge data. As you guys know, the historic storm event that occurred in August of last year resulted in us having to remove the washed out bridge that was in this location and replace it with a temporary acro panel bridge here. The original bridge that was in place was about 15 feet in span or width for water to get by. We had to replace this with a 90-foot acro bridge. The reason for such a large span is just because the stream is at a 45-degree skew, and these bridges don't come with skews intended. The curb-to-curb width is 30 feet, and the overall width is 37 feet. The existing bridge, it carries Route 67, Southford Road over South Branch Bullet Hill Brook. There's 1 lane of traffic in each direction, and it's about estimated almost 13,000 vehicles a day that travel over this bridge here. 2.5% of that traffic is truck traffic. So the purpose and need for the project. The purpose is to replace the existing temporary bridge that was put in place in August. And the need for it is that we need to remove it and put in a permanent structure to improve sight lines and improve all the geometric constraints that the temporary bridge is currently providing. These are the existing site conditions. Pointer works. As you can see, this is the outline of the Acro Bridge here, and South Branch Bullet Hill Brook flows underneath. Just north of the bridge, we have overhead utilities right here. And also west of the bridge, this signal was put in to alleviate sightline concerns that the public made us aware of. This line over here and over here are the rights-of-way lines that the state of Connecticut is in charge of all of this. On north and south of these lines, this property is owned by the town. So going into some site constraints that we have to consider for this bridge replacement. Hydraulic adequacy. Our proposed bridge that we will put in will meet all the hydraulic requirements and significantly improve what was here before. In terms of utility considerations, 3 service poles would be required to move. Specifically these guys over here. We would need more room and clear distance for any crane operations, things like that, purely for the construction of the proposed bridge. In terms of right-of-way impacts, for the purpose of constructing the bridge, we will be only impacting the north side of the bridge here, which is owned by the town, and we'll be coordinating with them on that whole process. In terms of environmental constraints, we are working with our environmental unit to essentially deliver the desired stream outcome and any possible fishery requirements and stream bed design for that. So the project scope, just a quick summary. We will be removing the temporary Acro Bridge, reconstructing the channel, and partial removal of the concrete blocks that are currently in the channel, which I'll explain in a little bit. We would install a precast substructure components on a deep foundation to prevent future scour concerns. And on top of that, we would place our superstructure, which are steel plate girders with a concrete deck. We are intending for these to be PBUs, or prefabricated bridge units, which means these would be built off-site, delivered to the site. Crane will place them on the abutments, and we will save a lot of time in construction. Our intention here is to open the road as fast as possible. So going into the proposed bridge, this is a model that we have created showing what our intentions are. All of these yellow concrete pieces for our abutments, we are intending for them to be precast, so to speed up construction. We call it accelerated bridge construction. The clear span of this bridge is going to be a little over 65 feet. Curb to curb will be 35.5 feet, which will provide 2 11-foot lanes and 5-foot shoulders. On top of the bridge, we will have our PBUs, prefabricated bridge units, over here with an open bridge rail to add some aesthetic to this bridge and this area. This is a cross-section of our bridge. As you can see, 2 11-foot lanes in each direction with 5-foot shoulders. You can see these prefabricated bridge units here. These will be built off-site and delivered. And the only thing that would be poured in terms of concrete on-site would be these closure pours connecting the units together. And this is an example of a previous project that we worked on that used these pieces, and we had great success in doing so. And that's basically what it looks like. And that's another picture of it when the bridge is complete, and you guys can kind of see what the open bridge rail looks like for this bridge. This is an elevation view of the inlet. A lot of the work will be done in the stream. When the existing bridge got washed out, it resulted in large scour holes where the original abutments were. when the state issued the emergency declaration, we had to fill these holes with these concrete blocks here. And these provide a negative impact on the fisheries and the wildlife in this area, so we'd be partially removing them to a certain degree, but leaving a portion of them underground to kind of lock in those scour holes. Along the edge of the stream, we'd be placing these toe boulders here to lock in the slopes in this location, and as well as provide a 2-foot minimum wildlife shelf for any wildlife to cross underneath the bridge. And you can see the abutment pieces over here, all precast, built off-site and just delivered to the site. And then here we can see the micro piles, which will be sitting on a deep foundation. They go all the way down to bedrock. So general plan and utility considerations. As I mentioned, north of the bridge, this utility pole that currently exists now, we would need to shift it north a little bit to provide room for the contractor to swing a crane around, install cofferdams, things like that. We have to maintain at least a 10-foot clearance. This signal here, we were hoping to get you a response on whether or not we would be removing it or keeping it. But we received a lot of your feedback and the request to keep it, so we're looking into a further traffic analysis to make that determination. In terms of right-of-way impacts, majority of the permanent impacts will be happening north of the bridge within the channel, as we are providing additional armament here to protect these slopes. So this would be in the town property, and it would just be this portion here would be the permanent impact, because we would have to rebuild a portion of the channel. Everything in this gray zone here is a temporary impact for construction easement. We are in contact with the town and are coordinating these the limits here for construction easement. We'll be using this roadway for the contractor to make deliveries and store their equipment. There is a tennis courts here that I believe you guys recently rebuilt. You will still have access to it to those tennis courts. And this this is another view, aerial view to kind of show you what we're talking about here. These limits obviously will probably change as we progress our design and coordinate with the town, but for the most part, these are the limits for construction easement for the contractor. Utility coordination considerations. As I already mentioned, we are in the process of doing traffic counts. They need to be obtained in order to make a final decision on what to do with this. We do have 13,000 people a day traveling on this roadway, but we have received plenty of your concerns, and that's why we're looking at it a lot more closely. So estimated project schedule and cost. Our intention is to put this project into construction in the summer of 2027 or starting in the spring to avoid the construction going into the school year and impacting buses and things like that. Our estimated project cost is a little over $8 million. We expect this number to go down a little bit as we have a very good outline of everything that needs to go into this project already, as this project is accelerated. As I said before, it's one construction season starting April 1st to October 4th, which will result in approximate 13-week full road closure. We are unfortunately unable to do stage construction with the Acro Bridge, as this bridge needs to come out in full and be taken apart piece by piece. So with the closure, this is the posted detour that we will be most likely providing. It's about 8 miles or 11 minutes to drive. This detour will be posted primarily for truck traffic, and it will last around 13 weeks. And the routes that we'll be using are Route 67 over here, Route 188 and Interstate 84 over here. For the locals, most likely this is the detour you guys will be using, which kind of what happened during the major storm events in August. This detour will not be posted. It would be just for the locals will figure out the shortest way. Just so you don't have to do an 11-minute drive, you can do it in 5 minutes. And we'll be using Community House Road and Peck Lane over here. So touching on a little bit on the right-to-way, Kathleen Erickson is our right-to-way coordinator. And essentially this is the acquisition process. We don't necessarily have to worry about this on this project, as no personal property will be impacted except the town's. So we will be coordinating that with the town. But the way this process works is, you provide a letter of intent to acquire. There's a valuation on the area that's being used. There's an offer of just compensation, negotiation process, and then ultimately acquisition happens. This is our survey, which is available on the website as well. You have any questions or comments, feel free to enter it there. And most importantly, our additional Q&A that will go directly to us. Preferably by email is the most efficient way for us to do this, but feel free to call the number. Just make sure you mention the project number so it'll reach the correct people for this. And again, all this information is on our town website, and thank you for listening to our presentation. Now we'll take any questions and answers.
So I live on Pepper Tree Hill Road, which comes down and then goes into Community House Road. Yep. So go back. No, to where you have the.
Right here, Pepper Tree Lane.
Nope. Right here. Nope. Another one. Next one. So you see Community House Road.
Yep.
There's Pepper Tree that comes down.
This.
Yeah.
This one.
So I understand that it was a disaster and something needed to be done quickly and traffic needed to be rerouted. I understand that, and I think everyone in that neighborhood understands that. But the volume of traffic that came through there, you're saying it's just the locals. It's not just the locals. It has to be coordinated specifically so that the traffic is calmed. People were driving through there, I would say 50, 60 miles an hour. Mailboxes were taking down numerous times. So you say 12,800 people go down 67. I would say 5,000 came daily through there. Contractors, trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be detailed on who can come down that road. It's not just the locals. It was dangerous. You have a community park there with children. Speed tables maybe need to put up. But you really have to consider the amount of traffic that's going to be coming down a small 2-lane road that's usually 25 miles an hour where people were just running amok.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your input. We will work with our traffic unit to alleviate.
Extra stop signs.
Yeah.
They had temporary stop signs there on Pepper Tree and Community House, but maybe there needs to be permanent stop signs. We need to slow the traffic down. There's a lot of children on that road, and it would be a shame if some fatality happened or something egregious happened there.
Thank you for your comment.
I agree. I live underneath that little 5-minute sign there, and during the last time that bridge was closed, it would take me up to an hour to get out of my driveway because of the bumper-to-bumper traffic going through there. And the people were irate because of this detour, and nobody would let you out or in. You know, it was just, you're gonna have to figure out something to control the traffic, whether you know, there's a timed light that allows only a certain amount of people to go through at a time, because she's right, 5,000 at least. I mean, bumper to bumper for hours.
Thank you. We will look into this.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Robert Harrison. I live on Jeremy Swamp Road. My concern is about the possible removal of the traffic light, specifically to the west of Jeremy Swamp Road. There's a culvert that was redesigned, and there's a chain link fence above this culvert now on 67, and it presents a sightline problem. I know the initial concerns for sightline was for the bridge itself that you're replacing, but I'm actually on the other side. That chain link fence, specifically with motorcycles, they get lost in that mesh. There was a short period of time before the traffic light went up, and it was amazing how many times I was caught off guard by motorcycles that came through there. So I would be very concerned if that light was to be removed for the potential of an accident due to that.
Okay.
I would like to speak, reiterate the same things, pro to keeping that traffic light. I have found that it's made a big difference safety-wise. I know I was one of the people that called and said, you've got to do something about the traffic and the sight lines. So obviously we trust you, and we don't know what the sight line will be from the bridge until we come out and drive. But looking to the other side, and that mesh is terrible. I'm going to support my other fellow citizens, because when that happened, there were times that we had to take that detour. It's a tiny road, and I felt like I was being very narrow in tiny. Actually run off the road. Tractor trailer trucks cannot go through there. But they did. And even though you're saying, you know, you have another detour for them, they're going to ignore it unless you really do something for enforcement. When you speak of locals using it, everyone from the Woodbury side to the Oxford Seymour side knows that detour. So it will not be just Southbury people. So I am concerned for them also. My next concern is all of us on Jeremy Swamp. Your construction is going to be right there. How is it going to impact us getting in and out? You know, we were closed down for months because of that after the flood. So I don't know if there's some consideration or that's been addressed.
So our current plan for the Jeremy Swamp Road here, we would be closing the bridge just past the entrance to that street. So you will have access on this road over here.
Understood. But again, we also have a concern on the other side. So you know, if you look at it, I assume there's going to be some kind of construction that's got to be addressed there.
Okay. We have Ed Brown here. He's our traffic engineer. Ed, would you like to come up here and kind of discuss the concerns here?
And maybe I'd like to make one more comment, and I appreciate that. I really do advocate for that traffic light. I would say before the flood, it almost was on the edge of being necessary. But in support of the people surrounding, by having that traffic light there, not only does it make the flow of traffic safely in and out of Jeremy Swamp, it forces some thought into what's going on 67 as they come without it racing up and down. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. I don't know.
So just quickly regarding that temporary traffic light, I do want to reiterate that we have heard the concerns. Our original plan was to remove the light, and because we have gotten these concerns, we've had some internal discussions, and they're going to do some traffic counts and do some additional analysis to see if it's warranted. So we are listening. I can't make any promises right now. I don't know what the analysis is going to indicate, but I do want to say that you know your concerns are being heard.
Yeah, thank you for that. I can honestly say I have not heard any complaints. You're kind of tuned in to people in our neighborhood. it's got the eyes on it, so, the traffic flows until it needs to stop, which is helpful, and it only lets 2 cars go, and then, so I think most people have appreciated it, so thank you.
And the same regarding the traffic signal. Before, it was dangerous.
Yes, it was.
When the sight line, the temporary bridge was put up, it became
Horrendous.
horrendous. And then, God bless, this traffic light emerged from somewhere, and that has been truly a lifesaver for many of us who live on Jeremy Swamp and further.
The ancillaries.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input, sir.
I also live on Jeremy Swamp Road, and I've been there since 1975. So, when I first moved there, it was a quiet little country road. Now it's a busy thoroughfare with people commuting and school buses and everything else. The ability to get out onto 67 has been treacherous for years now, and we've seen lots of accidents in that area because of it. Now, I know this gentleman spoke about if you look to the downtown area, the culverts that they put over the brook, they did put some chain link on the top of it. Why, I'm not quite sure, because I've never heard of anyone falling off there before, but it does generate a blockage to your line of sight. And even with the traffic light, if there's nobody stopped there, it's still potentially dangerous because you can't see who's coming from that direction. And personally, I'd like to see that removed. Yeah, I don't think it does anything for us.
Or at least have it addressed. We have no idea why it's there, and apparently, it sounds like neither do you.
Well, the reason it's there, because I was the engineer on that project to put that in. We were required to put it in because of the larger drop that the new head walls created. So if it's anything above 4 feet, we are required to put in a protective or a chain link fence there. But thank you for your input on the issue that it's now creating. So we will take a look at that.
We do like our stoplight. Thank you.
I have one more comment. Oh, go ahead. No, go.
It's, on Community House Road, we are being served papers for eminent domain on the state taking part of our property. Could you elaborate on exactly why and what's going to happen?
I'm not sure. That has nothing to do with this project. So reach out to the people that reached out to you for this process, but it has nothing to do with the bridge here.
One other thing I'd like you to do is, during this period from late August to maybe October, there's a lot of children in the community park now. So if you were to go drive by now, you'd see families crossing the road. So you have to take that into consideration. There's pee-wee football, or whatever you call it. Bicycles, people walking. So that all has to be taken into account too, the safety of the children.
Matter of fact, our neighbor Donnie, his property turned into a cavern. So right off the road, I mean, there's like a 10-foot drop because of what got washed away. So there's really no safe place for the kids to even jump off the road if somebody's coming down too fast.
On Community House Road, you're speaking?
Exactly.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're specifically focusing on this site and whatever the town decides to do with Community House Road.
What we're saying is, when you do your traffic studies and you say the locals are gonna go to community house, you have to take into account the children that are playing there.
Of course.
It's a large area, the parking lot, people coming and going, so it's another thing to look at when you do your traffic study.
Thank you for your input.
Excuse me, the traffic study that had 13,000, when was that done? The traffic study that said there were 13,
This is based on
Thousand
our 2021
2021.
inspection report.
Okay, a significant change since then. I'd like to be cognizant of the time of day that traffic studies are made, the time of year, which changes in Southbury. There's a great deal of our traffic from Heritage Village is gone for the winter, and those traffic studies then don't cover the impact most of the year. So 2021 does not reflect, since Market 32 and all that area was built up, there's a lot more traffic. Since the theater opens after that, there's a lot more traffic. That traffic count is inaccurate.
You're saying there's a lot more traffic now?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just because of the change in the construction in Oxford, Southbury, Woodbury, on Main
Okay.
Street South, there's a lot more industry now, commercial. I wonder too, if you've looked at accident statistics on those intersections, has there been any data given to you, or have you searched out any data on the accidents at that intersection?
For me personally, no. Our traffic study is in process right now, so this study will reveal the updated ADT, hopefully, and as well as any crash statistics.
In addition to the traffic study, an accident survey.
Yes.
Thank you. We'd like to see that, certainly that light stay, it has made a big difference in safety. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Another thought I maybe might like to add in support of the traffic light remaining in to echo concerns of community house and the number of families and children are there. You know, since Jeremy Swamp is almost directly across from that cross, right? The traffic light slows traffic down, and yes, it allows all of, you know, what's behind us to get out. But think about, it also slows it down for there, and because the traffic, when, you know, it is a red light, hopefully people will be considerate and allow some of that traffic to equally, you know, exit onto 67.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, we will definitely be looking at the traffic impacts in this area and everything that this project will impact. Does anybody else have any other questions?
This road closure's 13 weeks.
Right now, it's predicted to be 13 weeks. Obviously, we're doing our best to lower that as much as possible, as we don't want to impact the school, the start of the school year.
And in that contract, we will include liquidated damages for the contractor to incentivize them to get the road back open to traffic. So we make sure, because we know everyone hears 13 weeks and they assume, oh, you know, with construction, it takes however long it takes. But we do whatever we can with the contract to make the contractor incentivized to get out on time or early.
I'm just suggesting maybe some speed bumps down to community house to slow some of the traffic.
Traffic tables, maybe, large traffic tables.
Speed bumps or traffic tables?
Traffic tables, yeah.
Something?
I mean,
People fly over speed bumps, but a traffic table is large enough that people,
Yeah, I mean,
definitely, yeah.
it's 25 miles an hour road that nobody does that.
okay.
We'll definitely have further discussions regarding the assumed local detour, because that it is a high volume of traffic, and we get that over that period of time. You know, just because something's posted, people, you know, they find the easiest way, especially with GPSs, you know, whatever way it points them. So we'll have more discussions internally to see what we can do to try and ease this issue for you.
And how, you obviously work with state and local police to mitigate the commercial from going the way they're supposed to go and the
Yeah, so
traffic being calm.
our district office with construction, they work closely with them. We make sure that hours are included for state police to be paid under the contract. So we make sure.
Local police as well, so that community house road would be monitored as well.
And so we'll do what we can on the design side too, and then we also say, you know, also if problems arise during construction, make sure to keep letting them know, because just because something's in the contract, you know, whether how it's enforced, it's always good to get in the ears, because they're we're on the design side, we make sure the project gets to construction, and then we're still involved, but we're slightly more hands off at that time. But our construction people, you know, they'll be out there on site every day. They're the people, if you let them know, they're the ones that can, you know, really make sure impact change, if whatever is laid out isn't being enacted
But to
properly.
make it a complete package, to include local and state police, that, okay, so many hours are being paid to them so they can calm the traffic down or direct people to where they're supposed to go. I think it would be a great addition to the project.
be a consideration of size and weight limits of what the traffic can be to go through that detour might be helpful.
Okay. We'll take a look at that. Any other comments or questions? Yes, sir?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was just sort of thinking, between tennis courts and the basketball courts, there's this street.
This-
If the traffic would be detoured from Community House coming from main part of Southbury on to that street, then they could get back on 67 more quickly and would eliminate some of the impacts on Community House Road further up. Is that, am I thinking correctly?
It's a great idea. Unfortunately, the location of our bridge is just west of the Pepper Tree Lane that you're talking about. So they will not have you will not be able to cross over the bridge.
No, what he's saying is come off 67, go up Pepper Tree, and come down Community House Road, so there's a shorter stretch to 67. But I personally think that's unfair because there are a few houses on their road, and then they're going to have to take the butt of all the traffic. Am I correct in saying that?
I think either way, they're going to go past. I mean, if people can be spared the traffic, that's great, but, we're not gonna get spared one way or the other.
Did I understand that you said when there is a problem, we'll address it during construction? I would rather see it prevented than
We're
a problem
obviously
addressed after it happens.
Yeah, and we're gonna have these conversations internally now on how to best approach it. I'm just stating that, you know, we do everything we can to be proactive, and, you know, we also wanna make sure that, you know, enforcing that's something, so there's kind of two different things. So we'll do, you know, we hear your concerns about this. Again, I do wanna state, this detour we're showing here, this is what we assumed were for locals, and a lot of times for projects, you know, the people kind of figure it out as they go. However, in this case where this bridge was just detoured last year, it's a pretty good example case of, you know, you all understand the impact here. So this is where, you know, we appreciate the feedback, and this is why we come out and we reach to you, because, you know, we don't, you know, fully understand the day-to-day impacts of what's going on here. So we're gonna have these conversations. Again, we have our traffic unit here, our highway unit here. We're gonna go back and have these conversations and see how we can kind of address some of your concerns.
And our intention is to alleviate all these impacts within the project, but there's a lot of things that, you know, that happen in life here that cannot be entitled or contained in the contract. So if you see something in addition to what your expectations are, please let us know or let the district know. So if there are additional problems that do come up, we'll be able to sort those issues out.
And we'll give them a warning too, that, you know, there are people who are on the site every day. We'll let them know that, you know, this was a concern based on the past project. This is something they need to be aware of. So we can, you know, have these conversations now so that, you know, when they're in construction, this is something they're aware of, so that, you know, they're not surprised when this happens and they can be proactive as well.
Will you come back to us once you have more data on how this will impact the local roads? Will you come back and say, we've heard you, this is what we're gonna do?
We can definitely coordinate back out to the town, and then we can discuss at that point, you know, if they feel another public meeting is warranted, or if, you know, they're comfortable with what we're presenting. So we'll definitely keep coordination with the town. It's a continuous process as we advance your design. But I do want to reiterate that, you know, we're glad you're bringing this to our attention. It's definitely something we're going to go and have follow-up conversations about. Again, I can't promise you what's going to happen, you know, what's going to be in the contract, but we're going to do our best to address this. We're not just going to, you know, check this, that we had this meeting, and then just, you know, proceed with what we had.
One more question. When there is deterioration, and there has been, or there was, when it was a detour on Community House, who's responsible for correcting that?
It depends on the project and the project limits. We had this question before on previous projects where, you know, this unposted local detour, just for, you know, intention for the locals, a lot of people end up going through it and deteriorating the roads. We'll have conversations with the town and see what would be the best outcome for that. Typically speaking, we don't normally do additional work outside of project limits, but if anything happens out of normal, you know, these are conversations that we're going to have with the town.
So if we were to have posted that road as part of a detour, which we wouldn't do here, we would enter something called a town roads agreement with the town, notifying them that we are putting additional traffic, we're aware of that, and then, you know, in case that there's any deterioration, if any paving need to be done. So in that cases, we have reached agreements with the town. Again, we are going to post a complete state route detour. So our primary goal is, you know, get traffic off of those local roads, put them here. But based on our conversations here, we're going to have further conversations internally on how we can enforce that people are actually using this state route detour and minimizing the impact to the local. Because we know that just because we're not posting that local road detour doesn't mean people won't use it.
And this is the posted detour that we are planning on implementing. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, thank you so much for attending this meeting. All your input was extremely beneficial to the progress of this project, and we'll be working with all our folks in-house as well as with the town to hopefully alleviate all of your concerns. Before you guys leave, if you guys can check in with Victor Heisman and provide your name, number, and email, so we can, as we make progress, we have a way to contact you and update you, as clearly this is a huge concern for the local community.
And again, if you reach out again, and if you do want to follow up from us, if you do reach out and say, hey, please get back to me once you have some information on this, either if you reach out specifically by that email, I would say that, you know, if we then have your contact info, we can follow up with you once we kind of have more clarity on how we're going to proceed.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so
We
much,
appreciate
guys.
it.